Welcome to the morning assembly. Today is 14th of March 2022 and the day is Monday. Please get ready for the morning prayers.
स्वामिनी हंसवाहिनी वीणा पाणि ब्रह्म भामिनी कला स्वामिनी जग तारदे मां शारदे मां शारदे मां शारदे धप मप मग मग मगरे रे गरे गम गम प मप धनि धनि धम प हृदय गगन में भव्य भवन में हृदय गगन में भव्य भवन में मुक्त पवन में जग जीवन में मुक्त पवन में स्वामिनी हंसवाहिनी वीणा पाणि ब्रह्म भामिनी कला स्वामिनी जग तारदे मां शारदे मां शारदे 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 शारदे
March is also known as Pi Day, or a day where we celebrate the mathematical constant pi. Today is chosen specifically because when you follow the month-day format, it writes as 3/14, or the first two digits of pi 3.14. Now, without wasting any time, let's call our first presenters, Sarangi and Rudraa, who will shed some light on the history of pi.
The history of pi. What is pi? Pi in mathematics is the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. Pi is also referred as the Archimedes constant.
Why was the symbol of pi chosen to represent the number 3.1415? It is believed that it was chosen because it's the first letter of the word perimeter in Greek. It was first introduced in the 18th century by a Welsh mathematician named William Jones.
Attempts were made by many mathematicians for the values of pi. One was made by the Babylonians, who obtained 3. They calculated the area of a circle by taking 3 times the square of its radius. While on one Babylonian tablet the value of pi is shown as 3.125. Egyptians also attempted to calculate the value of pi and came up with the value 3.16. Lazzarini was the most accurate mathematician who came up with the value 3.14.
Since the actual area of a circle is within the inscribed and circumscribed of the polygon gave the upper and lower bounds for the area of the circle. Archimedes' method was to find an approximation of pi by determining the length of a perimeter of a polygon which is inscribed within a circle.
Abraham Sharp calculated pi till 72 digits. William Shanks attempted to calculate pi till 707 digits. And in 1882, Ferdinand Lindemann proved that pi is a non-algebraic irrational number.
History of pi. Even the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians have tried to find the value of pi. Their value of pi was around 25/8, which was pretty close to the value of pi that we use currently. Even though it was pretty close to pi, it wasn't until Archimedes that we found out a more accurate calculations of the value of pi.
The invention of calculus led to the calculation of 100 digits of pi. In the 20th and the 21st century, the mathematicians and the computer scientists extended the decimal representation of pi to trillion digits.
Thank you, Rudraa and Sarangi. Now we have Manas, who will give some fun facts about pi.
Albert Einstein was born on March 14. Einstein was a mathematician and a physicist who became famous for his theory of relativity. A circle is often associated with pi. Pi Day is celebrated on March 14th. It was chosen to resemble 3.14. The official celebration of Pi Day is at 1:59 p.m. to make an appropriate 3.14159. Pi is the 16th letter of the Greek alphabet. In the Greek numerals, pi has a value of 80. Pi has been studied by the human race for almost 4,000 years. The first person to use pi with its present meaning was William Jones in 1706. He also introduced the symbol pi. By the end of his life, he learned almost 28 languages, including Chinese. Pi has 6.4 billion known digits, and it would take a person 133 years to recite all of them without stopping. At position 763, known as Feynman point, there are 6 nines in a row. The digits of pi have now been computed to over a trillion digits past its decimal point. There is no zero in first 31st digits of pi. Rajveer Meena of Rajasthan was able to memorize 70,000 digits of the mathematical value of pi. He is a resident of Mohocha village in the district of Rajasthan, and he took 9 hours and 27 minutes to recite them all. Pi used to have a sentence-long name before the emergence of the symbol pi, which means the quantity in which the diameter is multiplied yields the circumference. Pi also has a relation to the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Thank you, Manas. Next, we have Angel and Harvey who will perform an interesting experiment relating to pi.
Hello, we are going to talk about an experiment that we can use to calculate the value of pi.
Let's talk about why this experiment might be of significance. Firstly, we can derive the value of pi without using any kind of technology. It is fascinating to see how basic mathematics will help derive the value of pi. This was first done by a French mathematician, Buffon, and hence this is known as the Buffon's needle experiment.
Now let's show you how to do this experiment. Firstly, we use a blank A4 sized paper. We then draw parallel vertical lines on the paper. We need to keep in mind that the distance between two lines should be twice the length of the needles we use. After that, we drop a bunch of needles randomly on the paper. Now we collect the needles that touch any of the lines on one side and collect the needles that do not touch any of the lines on the other side. Lastly, we count the number of needles on both the sides.
Let's look at the mathematical part of this experiment. The total number of needles should be divided by the total number of needles that have fallen on the line.
In the demo experiment we performed, the total number of needles we used were 76 and the total number of needles fallen on any line were 24. So we divide 76 by 24, which gives us 3.166. This value is very close to 3.14, which is the value of pi correct to 3 significant figures. This experiment can be repeated several times and the average can be taken to obtain more accurate value of pi.
Now, we have Divyanshi who will recite a poem about pi by Jameson Hill.
A poem about pi. The name of this math term, the name that you seek, does not come from English but rather from Greek. It's just 2 small letters, a P and an I. But how do you say it? You say it like pi. In Greek though, you say it quite differently. It's not pronounced pi, but it's rather p. You will never find a number the same. When written full out, it has a long name. You can't memorize the long number for sure. Just to simplify, we say 3.14. When you know how to use it, a smarty you'll be. You use it when working with geometry. You use it with circles. It's easy to see. The formula P equals to C over D. Circumference, diameter, that's how they relate. When you can understand it, your math will be great. You're listening to me. I knew that you cared. You can also write pi's a over r squared. Area, radius, a new ratio. There's now two to choose from, just so you know. You must know that D is just double the R. Both formulas help you become a math star. The cute little symbol is all over the place. Look around, it'll be all up in your face. Geometry, physics, trigonometry too. Statistics and science. My goodness, who knew? You see its importance, it's not just a fad. It's been around longer than your mom or your dad. So we learned a new math term that comes from the Greek. Knowing how and when to use it, your skills are less weak. It's just two small letters, a P and an I. Your new math best friend whose name is called Pi. Thank you.
Divyanshi. Now, to connect pi to the natural world, we have Arya with a presentation relating pi to reverse sinuosity.
Hello. Today we are going to be looking at how pi is actually related to our natural world. We are going to be talking about reverse sinuosity and pi. We all know about meandering rivers, but how exactly do you measure the curve of a river? Well, that's where the concept of sinuosity comes into play. Sinuosity is the ratio between the total length of the river divided by the displacement from its mouth to the sea. So a study done by Nicole Muir in 1990s showed that the average sinuosity of the river is pi. And this kind of makes sense because if you see when the river curves, it makes a turn of 180 degrees. And when you divide the curve by its radius, then you will get the number pi in radians. So the hypothesis was that pi should be the average sinuosity of the rivers around the world. A person named James Graham was intrigued by this investigation and he wanted to further research into this. So he created a website called Pi Me a River, which lets you calculate the sinuosity of the rivers around the world. But the result wasn't exactly what was expected. The average sinuosity of rivers around the world was 1.94 and not 3.14 pi as predicted. So how can this result be explained? Well, James tried to add another constant into it. He took phi and divided pi with it, and behold, we get 1.94 as the answer. Now, is this a coincidence or is there some true mathematical logic behind it? We don't know yet.
Thank you, Arya. Now, we have Killen coming up with an interesting linguistic application of pi.
Pylish is a language which uses the mathematical concept of pi. Although it was accidentally invented, it is used more frequently nowadays. Few of the examples include Not Awake, which is a book by Michael Keith, Poe Like a Raven, which is a collection of poems by Gustave Doré, Get a Wife, which is also a book written by Jane Austen. All of these texts are completely written in Pylish. So how do you use Pylish? So the Pylish is used with pi. Whatever the pi value is, we use the same thing to form a sentence. For example, 3.14159. So you make a sentence which follows the same order. For example, the first word has 3 letters. So Nav I took a jazzy crocodile. So Nav is a 3-letter word, I is 1-letter word, took is 4-letter word, is 1-letter word, jazzy is a 5-letter word, and crocodile is a 9-letter word. So Not Awake, a book written by Michael Keith, follows this order throughout. It is about 200 pages long, and Michael Keith constantly uses Pylish, and he uses the digits same way. What are the few rules which are needed to be followed when writing or using Pylish? So the digit of the pi represents the number of the letter in your word. For example, 3.14, which is not awake, not being a three-letter word, being 1-letter word, and wake being 4-letter word. There is one exception here. If you cannot find a word which is for the particular digit of pi because it is too short, or there are limited words which you can use for that digit, you can merge the next digit with it. For example, 3.1415926. So Over here, if you cannot find a letter, you cannot find a word which has which is one letter, you can merge 1 and 4 to form a 14-letter word. Example, responsibility. Responsibility is a 4-letter word, so you can use that instead of using three words with the pattern of 3 letters, 1 letter, and 4 letter. You can even do it with other words, like you can make a word which is 26 letters. So few of the examples which are advisory made is have I need a drink, but time I spent abandoned in jungle angry and alone. For a lady to progress, never comment. Have I pass a giant industrial TV safely after 2 giant engineers? These are a few examples of Pylish which we have created. Why don't you go ahead and try for yourself? Thank you.
Thank you all the performers. Now here is Aadish with today's point to Socho.
Entry of pi in mathematics has helped us understand our universe with greater clarity. It is considered the most important number in the world of calculation. One said, pi brings you into the world of mathematics, which is magic, mysterious, and exciting, and always full of challenges for everybody. It is utilized in computations involving circles, circumference, diameter, the area of circle, and numerous other applications in physics and mathematics around the universe. Some take the chance to bask in the brilliance and beauty of this mathematical constant pi, while others try to tear it down and have raised a lot of controversy. It's been a thumb rule in mathematics that every mathematician cares about making calculations simpler and uncomplicated. Hence, now many people are opposing pi and claiming that pi is making calculations more confusing and tedious. Pi obscures some of the underlying symmetries of mathematics and muddies up what should be elegant. The universe is vast and almost impossible for us to fully comprehend. But by distilling it down into a system of logical numbers and symbols, we can make some order out of the chaos. So why not embrace a circle constant that makes our equation and formulas more beautiful? Now people have jumped on the tau movement, which says that pi should really be 2 pi and can be called tau. In other words, instead of the angles of a full circle being equal to 2 pi, they would be equal to tau. Lots of equations are proved to be easier in the form of tau and can make real life applications more simpler. Wouldn't it be simpler if we created a new constant that makes equations easier and straightforward? Tau can make the lives of many students and mathematicians easier, making each and every calculations easier to perform, which everyone aspires to do. For example, tau makes radian angles a lot easier compared to pi. For example, so half the circle, which is 180 degrees, is tau by 2. So measurement of angles and conversions can be more welcoming and intuitive prospect for new students, instead of the complex pi measurement in complicated fractions. Similarly, tau can make functions like sine and cosine function a lot easier, as 1 tau is 1 cycle, making demonstration and calculation a lot simpler. Like this, numerous other sectors of calculation can be made easier with tau. So are you ready to transform from pi to a lot more convenient tau constant, making our lives simpler in the world of mathematics? Thank you.